What's up, everybody? I'm sure you guys are all kind of blown away by that game. First of all, the final score was 59-56 St. Mary's, and I got to tip my cap to St. Mary's. They got down, and their experience and their tournament experience and their patience, and they're well coached, and they didn't panic, and they chipped away and chipped away and chipped away, and I think that is kind of what stressed Vanderbilt out, because Vanderbilt was doing everything right in the first half. Vanderbilt was out-athleting them. They were creating great shots. They were moving the ball around. They were doing all kind of stuff early in that game and in the first half of that game. And St. Mary's just was patient. They answered, and it wasn't meant to be for Vanderbilt. They played a great game, great tournament debut, and it is it's something that you can't discount the tournament experience that St. Mary's had. But what ended up happening was, I said it in the preview shows, Vanderbilt has to play their game. Vanderbilt has to they have to control the tempo. They have to prevent this from being a in the paint type game. And if they can't do that, then St. Mary's is going to have the advantage, because St. Mary's does have the size advantage. They can rebound. They can do all kind of things down low. So this is a scenario where, if you're Vanderbilt, you can't be too disappointed, because, I think you gave them your best shot. I just think this tells you this is kind of the story about where Vanderbilt's been all year, is the reason they can't hold on to these leads is because I think they get impatient. I think they lose confidence, and I think they start taking panic type shots, and they can't hang with with teams that are just patient and that just keep shooting well and rebound well, and they just got away from what was doing them right. So very good season, stellar season, 11 win difference, 11 win turnaround to make the tournament. The first thing that needs to be noted is that this team was not expected to even finish outside of the cellar in the SEC, and here we are talking about what seems to be a disappointing loss in the NCAA tournament. So this is I would much rather be talking about a disappointing loss in the NCAA tournament than doing the season grade book a week ago to wrap up the season. So it's a very successful season in the Mark Byington era. We know where Vanderbilt is lacking. They're lacking size down in the paint. That has bit Vanderbilt in the butt so many times throughout the season. So I think the first order of business is to go get some height, go get some 6'11", 7-footers, some guys that can patrol the paint and control things down low. I think the shooting has been a little bit better, but I do think they need to get them a guy that can just be that sharp shooter that can take over a game in this type of situation, to where you need points and points fast, and you need some guys that can hit. So I think the plan is simple. I think it's going to be interesting to see what year two brings for Vanderbilt, because of what the deficiencies were, and I think this was a good look at all of that. But my hat's off to this team. Jason Edwards played a heck of a game. Early on, just built the lead, was very much a handful for St. Mary's. Tyler Nickel didn't think he was consistent enough to be able to hold this lead, but I thought he played really well. McLaughlin, Jalen Carey, those guys did all they could down low, but they just, they couldn't compete with those big guys down in the paint for St. Mary's. So this is, again, hats off to St. Mary's. They're an experienced tournament team. They've been in this situation before. Their coach has been in this situation before, and you could see that they were down 12 at one point, and things were looking pretty bleak for them, and they never panicked. And that's kind of, the mindset. And I think this was all, the talent's there for Vandy, and the athleticism is there, and the ability and the shot-making ability is there for Vanderbilt. But I think mentally they just weren't, and you could tell the inexperience of this team not only playing together, but playing in this situation in the NCAA tournament, you could tell, even with Mark Byington, he used all his timeouts before the 2.5-minute mark in the game, where he could have used a couple of those timeouts down the stretch to kind of calm the team down and prepare for a run to take the lead back. But, that inexperience kind of bit them. The inexperience of the panic that, the NCAA tournament is what college basketball is, but magnified. College basketball is a game of runs, and the more patient team that takes the initial shot and then they just chip away at the lead and they make a run of themselves. That's kind of how that is, but it's magnified in the NCAA tournament. The heat is magnified in the NCAA tournament because it's win or go home, and you have to be a team that's well equipped mentally to be able to hit those shots and to be able to make those plays down the stretch. Vanderbilt was not, St. Mary's was, and that's the difference in this game. That's no indictment of what this team has been. This team's been incredible, and there's some obvious improvements that are going to need to be made with the roster and with the construction of this roster, as far as just being on an equal playing field with some of these teams. We're in a shooting realm and in a defense and rebounding realm down low in the paint. So very good season for Vanderbilt. And this should be a season that, Vanderbilt fans can build on and can be proud of, and the same with football and baseball is kind of going through a little bit of that too as well. And so, you're starting to see a renaissance in Vanderbilt athletics. It's got to start somewhere. And with the tournament appearance this year, hey, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season back in November, if I would have taken a one and done in the NCAA tournament for Vanderbilt, I would have said abso-freaking-lutely I would have. And that would have been, amazing. I would have said this has been a highly successful season, given the fact that we built a brand new roster from scratch. Now, if you can get a lot of those guys to come back, now you have a core of guys. So you're not adding a roster, you're adding pieces. And so this is something that, you can build on. You can get past the first round next year. You can start to make runs, because this team is plenty good enough. They're plenty well coached enough to be in the position they were in. Means they are well coached, they play well together, and they're super talented. It's just in the NCAA tournament, and this is the last thing I'll say before I go. In the NCAA tournament is, it's magnified when you don't have those key pieces down low, and when you don't have those key shooters that can hit clutch shots in those moments. So, all in all, great season for Vanderbilt. All in all, very successful. And with NIL and the fact that Vanderbilt's participating fully in NIL, I don't see a reason why this is going to go downhill from here. I see this being the first stepping stone in a rebuilding of a program, and it's got to start somewhere. Why not now? Just glad we got that experience out there. Now this core's been through it. They've held the lead in the NCAA tournament. Now they know how to, I think the next time they're in this situation, they'll be able to handle a little bit better. Maybe they'll have some pieces, some different pieces next year to add to this core of really great players. And this will be exciting to see kind of how they go. But make sure you subscribe to the show. If you have any questions, just comment right here, and I'll get to them. Obviously not in real time, but subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the other socials, TikTok, the X account, and of course, wherever you get your podcast as well. You can check out any of the shows throughout the course of everything. I'm on 5 days a week, so let's get it. I'm looking forward to the rise. Now it's on to baseball, and then it's on to football spring practice. That'll be some things we talk about. Clark Lee not backing down from having a spring game, I should say. That's an interesting topic now that the NCAA tournament is officially behind us. That is a very good topic to talk about. And then, of course, baseball as they march towards Omaha, and of course football recruiting, spring transfer portal, summer training, and then we'll be back into next season ready to repeat round 2 of the Diego Pavia era, and it'll be great, man. So check out the show, subscribe, tell a friend, build this whole thing, and let's get it, man. But we'll talk to you guys later, and hey,